Here we go. We'll start. Um, Mike and I were talking about this yesterday. Don't be afraid of small towns. I grew up in a small town, 3,000 people in Williston, Vermont. I went back last year. I have to go back every year because my mom lives there, but I'm just, and my brother, but I'm just saying, in 2000, it went to 40,000 people. There's a Walmart now, there's a Dick's, Sporting Good, there's a Target, there's all kinds of stuff that built. So it was 8 miles from Burlington. So the cities keep expanding, going further and further out. When I moved out here in 1980, Irvine was just orange groves and dairy cows on the 405. Okay. So don't be afraid of small towns, they're getting bigger. And the reason why is because the population in 1975, we had 4 billion people on the planet. Today we have 8 billion. 8 billion. So what do you think it's going to be in the next 20 years? The projection I've seen is the United States is going to increase by about 150 million. So you're going to have close to 5 million people living in the United States. So where are they going to go? So you're in the perfect industry, really, to make a big move. You guys can do it. Okay? Do I flip it or? Yeah, the arrow keys on forward. Where is it? Okay. I'm sorry. Easily just what happened? Not this one. Right here. Okay. These. All right. So okay. Yeah. So we just talked about this. So the goal is to buy a property, create passive income, mailbox money, I call it. And so the mailbox money you can use to pay your bills here if you buy something out of state or even in state. The issues with California will be, higher prices, higher expenses to keep it. So, anyways, net worth and decrease your taxes. I just finished our taxes. My wife and I did. We're getting money back. Okay, so and we show a profit. We show a profit. We don't show a loss. We show a profit, six-figure profit. And the reason why is we'll go to because if you own rental properties, you can depreciate that asset, and that's a huge thing. So the last 3-4 years, we've got money back. Okay, so if you have a tax issue, you need to buy more real estate. Okay, and the population is going to grow. We just talked about that. So, anyways, this happened about 2 years ago. First time in the history of the world. The top 1% of the world owns 51% of all the assets in the world. And they're getting richer every day. The difference between the people that have a lot of money, people that are struggling, is their money just moves faster. Once they get the money sitting in the bank, they don't let it sit there. They don't let it sit there and make 2% or whatever. They move the money constantly, buying assets. Let's see, this one is, yeah, 25% of the population. It makes what 100,000 or less. I don't read the whole thing. Let's see this one. Okay, this is very important. Some people just have to get out of their comfort zone. Some people say, "Hey, I don't really like rentals." Okay, you don't like rental properties? Buy land, lease the land to farmers. I have 3 clients in San Diego. That's what they do. They buy farmland and they lease it to farmers. So again, or buy land like McDonald's. Everyone thinks McDonald's is a burger company. It's a real estate company. McDonald's last year made $52 billion. They only made $7 billion on hamburgers and French fries. They made $45 billion on owning the real estate. They buy the land, they build a restaurant, they sell you the franchise. You pay them rent on the building and the land. Okay? Or they sell the building to another investor, and then that investor pays McDonald's on the land lease. So again, there's ways to get around investing where you don't have tenant issues as much. You could also do commercial property where you could go buy a Dollar General or a family dollar. Those leases are corporate guaranteed leases. So it means the company could go bankrupt and they're still going to owe you the lease. They're still going to owe you money every month, mailbox money. And I sold a client that lives in Rancho Santa Fe a Dollar General back in 2005 in Tennessee, and he just loves it. And he paid cash; it was $550 back at those prices, and he was getting a check for $4,500 a month. And Dollar General took care of everything. The only responsibilities he had was the roof and the parking lot maintenance, but it was a brand new building. So they had to maintain everything. So it was strictly incredible cash flow for him. Okay. This is what I do. I invest 5 hours a week into my search for myself. Start small. Mike and I just did a video of a client of mine that I met 10 years ago at a Poway high school baseball game. We were just sitting in the bleachers. He's a contractor. He says, I hear you're a real estate agent. I want to start buying properties. I've sold him 18 properties in the last 10 years. I've made him a multimillionaire. And Mike and I did a video of this house that he was building. I don't know if you saw it. You saw that? Yeah, it was on 2 acres. I sold that house. And we're in escrow right now on his 19th property that he's going to flip. So in a few months, we'll sell it again. I will, so it'll be 20. But the thing is, what you learn here and what you do, I take it out in the field. I take when I get a client, I sell my house after a year, I'll go over to them back to their house and say, hey, you need just this conversation. And I'll go and have, lunch with them or dinner. And I'll bring a tax return and show them and just show them numbers and they go, maybe how did I do it? So I've converted in my 35 years, I've converted probably at least 20 clients that have gone out and bought multiple properties from me since then. So instead of searching for new clients, work on the clients that you have. Right. But I always tell them this right here, start small. Don't try to save. At least my strategy is to start small. And I tell my clients that because people go, I'm saving for this $700,000 duplex or fourplex or whatever. I just bought a property for 158, a triplex in New Mexico. We just closed it the last day of the year. Okay. So it's just amazing. It's a $600 a month positive cash flow on just that one property. My wife and I bought. Also have 5 and 10-year goals. I write those out. Okay. Let's see. And this is an important slide. This is what I look for. This is my plan that I created. And so I look in California, other states, small towns versus large cities, population growth. I Google the area and find out what the job market is, find out what the industries are. Okay. If it's an industry that's not going to disappear in the next 20, 30, 40 years, and if the population is growing, that's where you want to go. Jobs, college towns, and this is the most important. If I don't get 11% return, cash on cash return, once the first day it closes escrow or higher, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Okay. And people,
Explain that.
how you figure that out is you take your down payment, I'll just say it's 40,000. You divide it into your net of what you're going to get after expenses. So you divide it, and it's got to be 11% higher or return or higher. And so I figure if you do that, it's a lot better than having the money sit in the bank or whatever, or in bonds or T-bills or whatever. Some stocks you could get a better return. But the problem with stocks, my wife loves stocks. I love real estate, so we're 50-50. The problem with stocks is you can't depreciate the asset. And so that's why people go, well, the wealthy need to be taxed more. They're just smarter. They have smart CPAs. They keep buying properties, and so exactly they don't have to pay taxes.
So the cash return includes depreciation from From the income.
Yeah, this is the mailbox money. This not has nothing to do with appreciation. See, I work kind of backwards. A lot of people want net worth. I don't, net worth's gonna come. It's gonna come. I want mailbox money, depreciation. I don't wanna pay taxes. And because I want to put the tax money in my pocket so I can go out and reinvest. Okay. So I've incorporated since 2000. I haven't paid quarterly since 2000. So I don't pay quarterlies. No, no. So because I own a lot of rental properties and you just do the numbers. And Matt is back there, he can tell you, when you qualify and you take the depreciation, what's the lender do? It adds the depreciation as income. Correct. Is that right?
We always have a back
Yeah, it adds it back in.
What are write-offs? Interest,
Mhm.
interest write-off, tax write-off, insurance, depreciation.
Right,
We add all those back in. So if you ever write repairs or property management fees,
right.
those are true costs we have to hit for those. So that's why, like you're saying, on paper, you still a lot of rental income,
Hmm.
but when we qualify, it's actually positive stuff that we add all back in.
Right, right. And so people always think, well, I have one property or two. Is it going to get harder and harder to qualify for another one? It actually gets a little easier because they get to write in the depreciation and all that stuff. Go ahead.
I said, just to add that, I know we've talked about it too, because even for like myself, it's gotten so unique in terms of like cash flow loans, they're called DSCR loans. I recommend those 9 out of 10 times for investors, because as long as you get 20% down, the approval is based solely on the rental. It doesn't need to be a one-to-one cash flow, meaning that if your mortgage payment is gonna be 4,000 and the rent's 4,000, you approve. So it's just based solely on the property, that way it doesn't matter what tax card, doesn't matter if you have 10 other properties. It's all about what is the cash flow of the property. And then the more you put down, I think you do 25% down, it goes to 0.8. If the rent's 3,500 and the payment's 4,000, even though you're losing $500 a month, we'll still approve you, because you have enough in the game.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. So these are the properties I consider. You notice I do not have townhouses or condos. Why?
Right, things go up.
HOA fees, and you're under control of that, and you don't own the land. The land is the most important thing. Because the land is what's going to go up. I was in LA last week, and if you drive from LA all the way to Mexico, you don't see a lot of buildable land anymore. Unless the US is going to sell Camp Pendleton. Then you got some oceanfront property. And they could get rid of the deficit if they sold that land real fast. But there's not a lot of buildable land. In San Diego, we're landlocked. And Orange County is too, really. Yes. So again, those are the buildings the things I consider is single family apartments, commercial buildings, land leases, mini storages, triple net, golf courses and drive ranges. Again, you would own the land if you don't want to deal with tenants or plumbing. This is good. Mini storages are really good. Commercial buildings, I look for a 16% return on my money, cash on cash, because you have to refinance the loans every 5 years. So you just want higher return. And I've single family houses last year, the investors, Wall Street bought 33% of all the starter homes in the United States. So I try to stay away from single family homes because I don't want to compete with Wall Street. And also, when the tenant moves out, if it takes you 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks to rent it, then you're paying all the expenses. I like 2 to 4 units because it's residential financing. Once you get to 5 or 10 units, it's commercial financing. And the rates tend to be, you have to refinance every 5 years. So, and mini storage the same way. But again, mini storages are really good. I found one that was in Northern California. I brought it. I think it's 425, I believe, and it's on 3.5 acres. Yes, it's right here. It's on 3.5 acres, and it's got a mini storage. It's in Northern California, and it has a barn that you could make it into into where you had weddings or parties or whatever, or a wine tasting. So anyways, that's just how my mind thinks.
A good way of thinking.
Yeah,
I got
I
a
mean,
question for you.
sure,
Can you go back to the last slide, please?
sure.
The apartments, right?
Right.
I've been scared of apartments. And the reason being is obviously sometimes deferred maintenance, sometimes the roof cost could be a big, big hit like that. Are you big on a certain amount of units, or is it kind of like smaller units? I mean, have you seen success obviously on both sides? What are your preferences as far as how many units are there?
Okay, I've owned 7 units in San Diego, and they were all like little cottages in North Park. Okay, and they had, and 6 of them were studios. So to go answer your question, they're both really good. Apartments are good either way, but the only thing with apartments, I would stay away from like 2-story apartment buildings, because if you have, we'll just say you have a tenant that has a child and they overrun the tub or the toilet and it leaks down into the other unit. I prefer there's nobody up or no one below you. You just have kind of cottages. That's what my style I like. Yeah, I like that. And but apartments are really good because, again, it just comes down to you got to be smarter than the property manager. I would say when the property manager calls you and says, "Hey, we've got an issue," I always, if it's over $500, I want 3 estimates. I want 3. And like last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, we had to cut down a tree on a property in Tucson. I had. Again, she gives me a high bid. I said, "No, we're just shop it." We got a lower bid, and it was like $1,000 compared to 3,000. It was a big tree, but they wanted to take it all the way and take the roots out and everything, but it was on the fence line. She was afraid it was going to, fall on the neighbor's house. So we just took it down to the fence. I had not just cut to the fence because it was right up against the fence. The tenants didn't care about the tree, and I didn't care about the tree. So why do we have to take it all the way to the ground? So it saved me $500. It cost me $500 to trim the tree down to the fence. So that's what I'm saying. You just got to be smarter than sometimes. Just because they give you their opinion doesn't mean you have to do it that way. You can find something else. So, but I like apartment buildings again, Mike, because if someone moves out, you still got money coming in. You got mailbox money. Yeah. Yes, sir.
How do you hold title in your properties? How do you look into that?
I have an LLC and I have a trust. So I have some in the trust, but I just formed another LLC. So we're gonna kind of put them in different LLCs. Yeah.
So you have one for each property?
No, I just LLC. I'll put like 3 in there. Yeah, just because the LLC costs my attorney. It costs about $1,800, I think. So yeah, something like that.
In California or
Yes, yes. And earlier, I was just saying, I own 3 apartment buildings in New Mexico. I was saying earlier, 82% of the people in New Mexico that own rental properties, they live here. They live in California. They live in California. Yeah, because you can get positive cash flow. And so that positive cash flow, if you have a mortgage here or you have a car payment, we'll just say $600, and you get $600 positive cash flow, guess what? You can pay your car with that positive cash flow. And if you have positive cash flow, we'll just say that you have a broken toilet and it costs you $100. See, you leave the state of California, everything is less. You talked about a new roof. Okay, I said it earlier. I had to put the seller put a new roof on a property in New Mexico 2 years ago for me in escrow. The roof cost $6,000, brand new roof. That would have cost $15,000 easy in San Diego. So see, and I can pay no utilities. So if you own property here, you're paying the gardener, you're paying for the water, you're paying for the sewer. I don't pay no utilities. And the laws favor me when you leave the state of California. The laws favor the tenants here. So it's a big difference too. Yes. Yes.
In your analysis of properties, if part of the analysis is cash flow or appreciation, when you're going out of state, are you getting the same rate of appreciation that we would, for example, Newport Coast, Irvine?
Yes, you're gonna get appreciation.
But not as much.
Well, because the numbers are lower. I mean, I just bought a triplex for 158, but I'm gonna get, Amazon just broke ground in the area. It's from here to that building right there, from a 4,000 kid school. 4,000 students go to the university. It's called Eastern New Mexico University. So I love college towns. So it's 4,000 kids. There's an Air Force base about 20 minutes away that's got 4,000 people. Air Force bases aren't going to go away. And the college has been there since 1929. See, I've done my research. And also, Amazon just broke ground. They just broke ground on a casino and a horse track and a hotel for the casino. So those are all jobs. So remember we said earlier, jobs and population growth. Yeah, but to answer your question, yes, I'm going to show you later on. I have a slide just for the last 5 years. Our net worth, my wife's and our net worth's gone up 575,000, and that's with only using a 7% return. So it could be like I bought one in Tucson. I was just telling you about a few years ago. I paid 140 for a duplex. It's a mile from the University of Arizona. Today it's worth 300,000. Okay, so you're right. The numbers are not going to be like Newport Coast. No. But again, Newport Coast, you're going to need a lot of money to buy a rental property. I mean, I could buy up the whole town. I could buy up the whole town in New Mexico for the price of Newport Coast.
My conversation with investors
Right.
is no different than the stock market. Are you looking for equity or are you looking for dividends?
I look for both. And that's what I say. So I get net worth, but my net worth is going to, I'm looking at it as a legacy. So down the road, and the other thing too is once you buy a small property, you don't have to keep it forever. You keep it for 2 years. Guess what? You can go do a 1031 and then go buy a bigger property somewhere else if you wanted to. And there's three exchanges you can do. You can do a regular exchange, a reverse exchange, or a construction exchange. So you don't get taxed on your money. So like down the road, I think I've told Mike this, I have like a retirement plan when I retire. When I get a certain number for my net worth, I'm just going to call it Mike and go, I'm done. But what I'm going to do, yeah,
I refuse.
yeah. So, but what I'm going to do is that instead of selling, what I'll do is I'll exchange, and what I'll do is go buy a commercial building, and then that has like 3 storefronts, and I'll go buy not a McDonald's, but I'll go buy like a Jersey Mike's franchise, and then I'll run it just because to keep me busy. But I'll own the building, and I'll have the other 2. There's an agent in our office in RB that I met with 2 of her clients on Saturday. They want to buy a mini storage. We're looking at mini storages, and I'm helping her. Or they want to buy coin laundromat. And I'm just the way I am. I'm real honest with people. I just tell them exactly how I would do it. I told them I would not buy a laundromat unless I own the building because you control the rent. Your biggest expense of a laundromat, and I told them the pitfalls of a laundromat is like, okay, you're going to have people go in and they're going to break the doors. You're gonna have plumbing issues. You're gonna have issues. Someone's gonna be there at 10 o'clock at night, and they're gonna break some of the machines to steal your quarters, whatever. So I said, mini storage is a lot easier because I used to own 17 of them in 9 states. They're the simplest business to run because you don't have any plumbing, no water. They're not living there. They're storing stuff. So, anyways, so you just have to. I was honest with them. I don't know if they're gonna go. Laundromats. If they do, I'm going to help her. We're going to, they want to buy something in the state of California. So anyway, we'll go to the next one. Let's see. Location. Yeah. So I think we covered a lot of this, but again, like in New Mexico, the insurance is really cheap. The insurance on that one triplex is only $92 a month. The taxes are only $90 a month. And so that, and see, and the lower, and the repair costs we talked about, and then you just hire a property manager. Okay, so that's the difference. So you just have to do your numbers, but you can find stuff in California. I have a triplex here that I just sent to client. It's in Orwell, Northern California, and it's $325. It's a triplex, and the rents are about $3,200. They seem kind of low because the one bedroom I get 900. I get 900 for one bedroom in Arizona, so it seems kind of low. But I don't know. And then I found a 7-unit building in Kermit. Yeah, it's 7 units, but the agent hasn't called me back. I called her 3 times, she hasn't called me back. Don't hire her. Don't hire her. She doesn't even return a phone call.
Give me the list of
I know. And that was 425 and it's 7 units. So that one seems like it would pencil out pretty good.
Shalu said that she worked for EXP.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because I saw it on LoopNet, so I don't know. But again, we just talked about this. It's again, don't be afraid of small towns because small towns will grow. Will grow. Exactly. Look at Irvine in 1980. There was nothing out there. Look at it now. Yeah. So I mean, Irvine Company owned all this land. Okay.
They own this building.
Yeah, oh, they own this building? Yeah, yeah, exactly.
They own everything.
Exactly. Okay, so this is some of the areas that I like. Some you got okay, so we talked earlier that Mike and I met my client that I've sold 18 properties. See, your license is good for the whole state of California. You guys limit yourself by just selling Orange County. Once you get to learn all this stuff, you can take it out in the field. I sold that client a 10-unit building probably about 4 years ago. We did a 1031 on a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath. I sold him. He fixed it up. I sold him 10 units in Reading for $505, and it was on 1.75 acre lot. So he's a contractor. He could add more units. He also I sold him 5 units up there, and he paid $425 for it. And so those 15 units bring him $12,000 a month in mailbox money and positive cash flow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why he loves me, and he loved Mike too when we did the video. Yeah, yeah, good guy. And so that's why he's buying a little duplex in Fallbrook right now. We're in escrow, and he's going to flip it. We're in escrow for 603, and we're going to flip it in the mid 8s.
Speaking of that relationship, I just want to make this very clear. That client that Mickey was referring to, do you think anyone else has a chance to actually earn his business? I see she's thinking no, right? Like no way it had. Mickey for life. Why? Because he didn't just sell them a property. He sold them other properties, guiding them through the process. They started small and look where they ended up. So the loyalty is built, number one. Number two, the trust, right? Everything.
I have his younger brother now. We're in escrow. We just closed escrow on a house in Vista, a fixer, and his younger brother called me up 3 years ago. Him and his wife said, "Hey, we flipped a condo, but we didn't do we lost money or broke even or whatever. We did it with another agent, but we know that you're working with my older brother, and he's kicking ass." And so he goes, "Can you come over to the house?" So I went over to the house and brought him my tax return, showed him that I knew what I was talking about, and they already knew I did with their brother. He goes, and so the younger brother goes, "Can you help me?"
Love that. Yeah, I got a question for you. So everybody here is definitely interested. I can really tell. I think the patient's great. I love this.
Yeah.
How do they start? Like for an example, like if you want us to start, do we start small with just learning the information? Because I believe knowledge is power, right? You actually.
I go on realtor.com in my 5 hours a week that I look for myself. I look because I've got an account where I've got some money put away for real estate, and like I said earlier, I'm not paying any income tax this year, so the money that I would pay in the income tax, I put it in a real estate fund. And so, anyways, I have it sitting there, so I'm looking constantly because my goal is to buy one property a year. We just closed it. So again, I start with realtor.com and I go backwards. I find a property first that looks good. And I'll call the agent, the listing agent. I deal with the listing agent mostly because what I'm going to do is tell you, I said to somebody earlier, I make a commission on every deal I buy, even if it's out of state. Mike and I made money the 1st of January. We closed on the last day of the year. I wrote the offer at 158, but I told the seller I want a $10,000 commission on a $158,000 deal. And so I said, give me a Remax agent in New Mexico that you know. I gave him $1,000 just to write the contract. Didn't need him to do anything else. I did everything else. And we got 8264 back. And then I had to pay the income tax that the seller was going to owe to the state of New Mexico was $800. And so, but it's on the closing statement. So I got a referral fee that said 8264, and the broker in New Mexico signed it. And it's on the closing statement. So again, it's legal. So exactly. And so people go, why do I do that? Well, why don't you reduce the price? From 150 to 158, my mortgage is $8 a month. I already got a $600 a month cost of cash. I prefer to take the $82 or the $8,200 back into my pocket. See what I'm saying? So again, you have to, when you go buy your next property, you have to show you're making money, income. Yes,
I got a question.
sure.
When you talk about start small, if you have a current property that has equity, do you ever recommend refinancing that? But like right now, real estate has like a lower interest rate that you could get, then you could get if you refinance, but you still recommend refinancing to have that down payment for the next property?
Just do the numbers, but I would, yeah. My first broker, I started with Century 21 in 1986 in Claremont, in San Diego. And the perfect, he had the best advice. He says, once you buy real estate, never sell it unless you really, really have to. And I've sold properties over the years that I wish I would have held on to them, but they didn't pencil out very well. But I would refinance it even at a higher rate because again, the interest rate, if you're going to make these around now,
Kind
okay, we'll just let's attack right up.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what the interest rate is. Okay, like this one in Tucson, the mortgage is 464. Okay, and then here's the property management. My mortgage is 464. Guess what? We got 1611 after the management fee. 1611 was deposited in my bank account last week. So that's over $1,000 of mailbox money. So you should continue to do that to grow the mailbox money. That's what the wealthy do. They don't sell. They refinance, take the money, don't go buy a car, but reinvest it in another asset.
Okay.
Okay, yes. But the interest rate, like here's one I bought, it's 769. The interest rate is 7.6. Do I care about what the interest rate is? No. It's a tax. Like Matt said.
I wouldn't overlap. I'll tell you. No, I've watched so many people.
Yeah.
That was Michigan.
Right.
They overbought, they overleveraged, market dips, and guess what happens?
Right.
Problems.
Well, 100%, but that's why I'm supposed to do one a year.
Right.
Don't, like to Mike's point, I bought 6 in 2007. 6 properties myself in 2007. We know what happened in 2008. So, exactly. So the thing is, you just don't, also too, where you go buy your next property, you just got to make sure it's that 11% return on your money or higher, because is the property going to refinance here?
No, it's in Maine.
It's in Maine. Okay.
So basically, my grandmother lives there.
Mhm.
sold it to me for like a huge discount, that has like
Right,
200,000 equity in it. But the mortgage right now is 2,000 and she just pays 600 a month. So I'm still paying out 1,400 a month,
right,
but the thought is like, if I use the equity to get another property, like we talk about. I have
Right,
enough money over
right.
there.
And where I would go, you're in Maine, I grew up in Vermont, so, yeah, so Maine's a beautiful state. But what I would do, I would go south. I would not stay in New England. I would not stay in the big cities in the north, like Chicago, Detroit, or, because the tax rates are high, property tax. I would go to like a little closer out this, maybe not Cal, but I would, I'm gonna show you, you could buy a property in New Mexico. I saw one for 170,000, so 25% down. You could do it for like $65,000 all in, and then get a commission.
Yeah.
And then so you could probably be in for like, so then your mortgage is not going to go up much on the main property,
Right.
and that positive cash flow will help you offset your payment. Your payment might go up to $2,000. Well, you're helping your grandma.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice of you. Very nice. So yes, but I would do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Question.
Is it?
And
You have some-
Could? Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you considering residential or commercial in Ocean Shore?
I like Ocean Shores because it's right on the ocean. It's a small town of 6,000 people. It's about 3 hours from Seattle. But I want to buy a place up there, but I'm trying to convince my wife.
Residential?
Yeah, residential, but it's a losing battle. So, well, she says it's cold. Well, I said it's cold in the Cape Cod too, but people still got $1 million mansions in the Cape. I love the Cape, but Reading is 250,000 people. So this would be, you can buy a triplex or fourplex up there right now for about 400,000, so about 100,000 a unit or less. So, and you get your commission. I like Jacksonville. It's a little further north because you got an NFL team, but you can buy a duplex right there for 250. See, this is people. Okay, I've researched this area since 2019. In 2019, you could have bought a brand new home, not a big home, not like Newport Beach or anything, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a 1-car, but it's brand new, brand new. In Ocean Shores, it's like it has a bay, has a golf course in the middle, has the ocean. So it's like this. And you could have bought a house there for $150,000. Today, that same house is $350,000. So see, they are going up. And I told my wife, someday, mark my word, the homes are gonna be over $1 million. Easy. And the same thing with Cannon Beach in Oregon. 2-hour drive or about an hour and a half drive on the ocean from Portland. My son went to Oregon State. So we'd go to Cannon Beach. When he started school in 2017, you could buy a house in Cannon Beach for like 400,000, 500,000. Now they're 1.2. See, so it's kind of just like just like Orange County. When I moved here, Dana Point only had a 7-Eleven. We were talking about that, and a surf shop. Yeah. I mean, the most expensive house I've ever sold was in Dana Point in 2010. I sold a $5 million home, 2010.
How do you consider the property appreciation to appreciation cities? Because I did a quick search on Reddit. Early this year, it has actually depreciated by 1.2%.
Right.
you can find that a lot.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a majority
Yeah.
of homes that actually not did too well. There's some hot pockets that have actually increased, but that's actually the minority that actually, it's been a stagnant market,
Oh, definitely.
right?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's gonna again.
the 3-5 average, I think that'll come.
Again, it goes back to economics 101. If you ever took economics, it's supply and demand. Everyone needs a place to live. So the supply, and you got 8 million people on the planet, and God's not making any more land. So so you're running out of room, and and I see it in small states. Vermont only has 505,000 people, but I've seen the growth. When I fly back there every year, you see it, and I've seen the growth here. So
just don't look at investment just on the net worth. Right?
What do you think of Summerlin in Vegas? Because the population growth over there.
Yes, yeah,
Unlike
yeah, yeah. Yes, Vegas is good. It's just like Dallas and Phoenix. All those areas are expanding further out. Right. So yeah, Vegas, 100%. Isn't there a retirement community that's what's it called?
Summerlin, Richard Park, Red Rock.
Yeah, right. Yes.
We have clients who moved here, moved up there, and their house has gone up with like $1 billion.
Oh yeah, yes.
My son. Every year, my returns over there.
Yeah.
And
You're right.
very,
But I did this a couple years ago. So yeah, you just do your own research. But like Tucson, I have 2 properties in Tucson. It's about 1 million people. You got the University of Arizona. I mean, and then I like Lincoln, Nebraska. That's the capital. And Omaha is growing. Omaha, I love Omaha. I like Lincoln. Lincoln, you have the University of Nebraska. You have the capital. So you just got to look for jobs. Again, Vegas doesn't have good taxes. Property taxes are low.
One of the reasons that our client moved up there was,
No state income
no
tax.
state income.
Right,
So
yeah.
they moved to retire.
Right, 100%. Yes. So again, and California is losing billionaires. We talked about that yesterday. And they're going to Texas and Florida. And yesterday there was another announcement. Uber, co-founder of Uber, now is moving to Texas because of the billionaire tax. Right. So, oh, it's a click of the mouse. That's not
yeah,
okay.
but not a good person.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So this is how you figure out the positive cash flow: loan, property taxes, insurance, property management, and then you just take those in consideration, and then you take your rents and whatever that profit is, your net, times it by 12, then you divide it into your down payment. And that tells you about 11% higher returns. You want to basically get your down payment back in about 4 years, 4.5 years, and then you're making money. Yes.
How do you incorporate your maintenance? What percent do you incorporate? In your monthly expenses? Do you put aside for repairs?
Yes, I buy properties that are in good condition. So most of them, I'll get them inspected, and then if it needs a new roof, that's the other thing. You get out of California, there's less competition too on buying a property. And you have leverage too. You can say, look, I told the seller that 2 years ago he didn't want to put the new roof on, of course, for $6,000. I said, well, that's good. I'm going to go buy property in Texas because I own property in Texas or Arizona or whatever. Here people were paying 50, 100, 150,000 over the asking price. I'm getting it for less. Seller putting a roof on and paying me a commission.
Is you basically have to you put a reserve aside for a period.
Yes, I mean, I have an account. Yes,
Is it like 10%, 8%?
I try to keep about 20,000 in it.
Okay.
Yeah, So if something does come up, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question, but yeah, that's what I try.
No, that's awesome. That,
Sure. Go ahead.
So when you consider depreciation, do you prefer accelerated depreciation or linear? Which one is beneficial to investor long
What's the question again? I was like, how long?
term? Accelerated depreciation is you get a depreciation in year 1. But year 2 you got it.
Right.
But every year it doesn't keep amount.
Yeah. I depreciate it over the 27 years or 25 years. Yeah, whatever the data, we depreciate it over time. Yes. And then if you go to sell it, if you don't do a 1031, then you're right, you're going to have to pay back some of that depreciation to the IRS. But that's why you do a 1031. But that's the reason why you want to own real estate, because it's basically the government's giving you free money. The government does not want to be in the housing business, in the rental business especially.
that's a really good question. It also depends, I believe, and again, we're not accountants. We make sure that we are with a very good financial advisor along with CPA. Because it depends on also if you make a lot of money that you're cheap, like if you wanna get it,
Right.
right? Or you wanna spread it out, so they.
Well, I had an agent from competition, a different broker, saw me at the gym. And he asked me, he goes, Mickey, he says, this was last year. He goes, Mickey, he says, because he knows I buy real estate and investment properties. And so he goes, Mickey, he says, my CPA says he only owns a house. He doesn't own any rentals. He goes, uh, my wife wants to buy this, Land Rover, which is over $100,000 car. And the CPA said, well, we can depreciate the car, and save on his money. And so I told him exactly what Rich Dad Poor Dad, if you ever read his books. And I says, no, instead of going buy the car, go buy an asset and use the positive cash flow to pay your monthly payment on the car. And you learn that in the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And so exactly, and so basically, then you in a few years you have the liability paid off, but you still own the Land Rover. But he didn't listen to me. So anyways, he bought the Land Rover and went that route
Yeah,
instead.
nice rims.
Right, yeah. So he didn't listen. But anyways, but he was getting killed in taxes because he made over 300,000 or whatever. So I go, yeah, well, he didn't listen, but whatever. That's all right. My mom didn't listen to me either. Check. All right, so we have a title rep in the back. She could give you sold comps. If you're looking at property out of state, I don't rely on the listing agent. I do my own research. I call up my title rep, say, can you give me comps in the area? So that's real important. So then you're looking at the comps yourself around the area, see what things are selling for. And now I've done it long enough. Once I see a property, I knew it's a good value just by looking at it. And then check with the city. The cities, all the cities, I don't care if they're small or large, they got a 5 and a 10-year plan. It's public information. Check the planning department. Find out if Amazon's going to break ground on something. They don't just give them a permit like in a week. That's got to be on the books for a while. So I was telling the agent in our RB office, she owns property in Boise. Micron Technology just broke ground on a plant outside of Boise, $15 billion chip plant. $15 billion. So that's going to be a lot of jobs. So I told her you should buy some more property in Boise, Idaho. Okay. The eye test is what I call is when you drive around an area and you see a lot of cranes and you see a lot of construction, that means there's money being poured into that area. So that right there goes back to the question about appreciation. If the areas are growing, the properties are going to appreciate. I don't care where you buy in the United States in the next 10 years, the prices are going to double. The average home right now in the United States is 400,000. What I've read in the next 10 years, it's going to be about 750, the average home. And I've told some of my son's friends that are in their mid-20s, I said, if you're renting longer than 4 years, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. You're going to be a renter the rest of your life, because especially if you live in California. Because the average home, what's the average home in Irvine right now? 1.9. Yeah, in San Diego, it's the average home is 1.2.
Yeah.
So yeah. So how long these young kids can't save enough money fast enough. They can't. They have to invest. And even my son, who's 25, he's looking in Dallas. He's looking in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's looking in Austin. And I've been sending him properties, duplexes, where he can live in one unit, rent out the other unit, or buy a triplex, rent it, and do the same. Exactly. Get started. Let's see. So we got the depreciation, the repairs, management fee, interest. Those are all tax savings. So if you get hit with taxes, just buy more real estate. Yeah. So this is the breakdown. We talked about that earlier. I like 2 to 4 units. Let's see. I saw this in a movie. It's a quote. I don't remember the movie. The only difference between someone who's afraid and someone who is not is the person who's not afraid just has clear vision of what's ahead of them. Just do your due diligence, just have clear. In racehorse, what do you think racehorses have blinkers for? Because they're not distracted. So don't get distracted either. Write your goals down and just stay focused. And don't listen to the outside noise. Even my mom, I'll call my mom. I told her on New Year's Day, Happy New Year's. And I say, hey, Mom, just close on another building. She goes, first thing out of her mouth, she goes, why'd you buy another building? you know, so see, you got to just forget about the distractions and just keep going. Right, because there's going to be some friends of yours, or it could be your brother or sister or whatever. They're going to try to keep you down to their level, and don't just do that. That's it. Yeah, yeah. All right, so come to the next meeting. Come with like 3 properties, and we can analyze them. Okay, and so these are some of the properties that I brought. I just showed you. So we were just saying this is in Orville, 3 units for $375. Okay. So there's stuff in Cal. Here's the 7 units. The agent didn't call me back. 7 units, and what's the price? $425. Now this is up in the mountains, east of Bakersfield. But still, I was up there last summer. It's a small town, but again, that's going to cash flow. And that's in California. What's this? Coachella. Okay. Okay, there's an agent in our office. I showed her that yesterday. They love this because of the concerts out by Palm Springs. It's east of Palm Springs, but they like this because 380 get 3 units. This is in Albuquerque. Okay, Albuquerque's over 1 million people, largest city in New Mexico. And this one I think is $275. And then here is a 5-year plan of just the last 5 years of properties I bought. And so here is the 2 in Arizona and the 3 in New Mexico. This is the mailbox money I get, almost $3,000 a month just from these 5 properties. And that's after principal and interest, taxes, insurance, and property management. And I don't pay any utilities. I don't have any gardeners. There's, it's all. So you cut out all that. The tax savings is $25,000 a year because of depreciation in those 5 properties right there. That's why I'm not paying any taxes. And then here is, let's see. Okay, well, it had the net worth got cut off, but anyways, the net worth is about $575,000 in just in the last 5 years buying those properties, and they all. I mean, these are the numbers. They're not Newport Beach numbers. Trust me. This is 140, paid 250, 145, 112, 158. Huh? Oh, the net worth? Okay, thanks, man. Yeah, so see, it's 550, the net worth, and I just go in 7%. The government says inflation is 2%, but I say it's about 6%. So I'll just use 7%. And so in 10 years, the net worth just on those 5 properties is going to be almost $1 million. And haven't really done anything. Really? No, except just buy. And then I'm also got the positive cash flow. What do you think the rents are going to do? They're going to go up. Exactly. In the next 10 years. Exactly.
Each month or each year, how much would you say time-wise you spend with the properties or the property manager? In terms of like the maintenance time. So you said, I know you said you're not doing much besides buying, but is there much time allocated throughout the month or the year?
Yeah, I could probably get 1 call on these 5 properties. I probably get 1 call a month where something happens, where the toilet backs up or the stove, like this one in Arizona, that one. Yeah, but the property manager calls me. I don't do anything. I just have it in my contract with them. And if it's under $350, they don't even call me. They just get it done, and then it just shows up on my monthly statement. But if it's over 350, they have to call me and tell me, and I just said earlier, if it's over 500, I go, give me like 3 estimates. So yes, but I get probably about 1 call a month. Yeah, it's not too bad, no. And when I owned the mini storages, I had a property manager. I didn't hire a person to sit there for 8 hours to look at their phone because no one would show up or whatever. And I hired a property manager to run it. So they would run it just like a complex. We'd have a sign, and so you wanted to rent a unit, they would call the property manager. The manager would meet you there at 5 o'clock at night after work and show you the available units. Mini stores are easy too to get people out if they don't pay, because if they don't pay, you can double lock them. And most states, the judges don't even go to court, so it's easier. Even in California, where the laws favor the tenants, it's easy to get to sell the units if they don't pay. Yeah, so mini stores are really easy to deal with. Yeah, the only problem, I had partners. I don't have partners anymore, and the partners, we all wanted to sell and liquidate, and so that's the reason why I had 17 of them. I had partners, and so and I wouldn't do that again. I wouldn't have partners. No. Someone asked me earlier today before the meeting about Kingman. Kingman, Arizona. He was looking at a property in Kingman, and I used to own a mini storage in Kingman, and we bought it for $450, and we sold it for $650 like 3 years later. Yeah. So in Kingman, there was nothing out there. Kingman, Arizona. It's about 90 minutes from Vegas, but I guess it's growing. I haven't been out there since 2007. Yeah. It's bigger now? Yeah. So,
Well, I know you said you were against partners, but in the effort of starting small for these young people that don't have a lot of money, is partners the least way to start?
that's how I bought my first house in Mission Viejo. I was about 25. We bought a house. I played hockey with a bunch of guys. I played hockey with one of your agents here, Rob Udell. We played hockey together. And so Ron Roy, my buddy on the hockey team, he was a CPA. And we bought a house in Mission Viejo in 1984. Interest rates were 11.5%. We bought a 3-bedroom house, and we bought it 50/50. And we bought it FHA 3.5% down, and we rented out the 3rd bedroom for $350. And our mortgages were like $1,250, and I was paying $600 anyways in rent. So it penciled out. And then we only paid $110,000 for the house. And he sold it. He bought me out a few years after because I needed the money to start my real estate career. He kept it. I sold it last year for $1 million, and we did a 1031, and I sold him a condo down in San Diego overlooking Petco Park downtown, and he paid cash, so he kept it. And yes. So to answer your question, yeah, get partners. I would just, once you get established, I would get away from it. But it depends on who your partner is, if it's your brother or sister or whatever. But I had agents and I had lenders that were partners. And what killed us was in 2008 when the recession came, we had positive cash flow. When the good times, everybody loved the positive cash flow. But when the market tanked, the whole world was in a recession. Some of the people needed money, so we had to sell. We still made money on real estate. I was telling Mike this yesterday. I've lost money on 3 ventures, and none of them were real estate. I owned a racehorse in the 90s, lost money on that, and I put money in 2 startup companies and lost money on both those, but never lost money on real estate. Yeah. I've even owned a car wash in South Carolina. Never saw it. Bought off LoopNet for $55,000. It was a coin, and I bought it in 2007. It was one of my 6 properties I bought. And I didn't have a partner. I paid $55,000 for it. It was in Jonesville, South Carolina. It was on a half an acre. And I sold it 5 years later for $75,000. I didn't make a lot, but I made some money. But I bought it. My plan was I was hoping McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or, well, In-N-Out now it's going all over the place. But somebody like that would come in and go, "Hey, Mr. Roberts, we see you own the car wash. You want to sell it for the land value." And then maybe they give me, 250, 500,000. That was my plan, but the recession came. So again, I sold it. So I still did okay with it, but you just, I know that's just how my brain works. I'm just that way. I'm always creative that way. Yes. I'm kind of a doer and a dreamer.
Love that. Anybody got any last questions?
Yeah,
for me?
we are.
Just hit the hour.
Yeah.
Was it great or what?
Great.
He's not going. He
No.
wants to help people.
No.
He's an incredible resource. Please utilize him. And by the way, those of you that have taken pictures of the slide, maybe it'd be helpful if we send the slides to everybody. Would that be helpful for you guys? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We'll send the
Yeah.
slides.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm helping a few agents in our office, but call me if you have questions on, even if you have a client that has a commercial building or a car wash or whatever. I've sold restaurants, car washes, everything here in California, so I can help you with that. But we have an agent in the Carlsbad office, just sold an Airbnb right on the ocean in Oceanside. She called me a couple days ago and said, "Hey, Mickey, I have some questions about this. How can I put this in the contract?" And I told her what to put in and write up an addendum, and she did it. She's got an escrow. So, like Mike said, I'm willing to talk to everybody.
Not to mention, if you guys want to partner up with them on certain things, and maybe you have no knowledge of a certain business, and just saying, maybe you want to go 50-50, right? That's a better idea in my opinion, because therefore you kind of get guided for the work.
Yeah, that's a business card. Well, the clients that I met on Saturday, exactly, we're going 50-50. I'm helping the agent show her how to sell her client a mini storage or a laundromat. Yes, so we're going 50-50 on that deal, to answer your question, yeah.
Because when you're dealing commercial, you've got to do everything, some of your research is off of LoopNet. And
Right.
But we don't, we don't belong to.
Yeah, I use LoopNet and CoStar. Yeah, for commercial, yes, yeah. But I have a commercial building right now in Escondido, and the other thing too is, if you, just one more thing, if you get into buying commercial, the one I have in Escondido, the owner's only to carry it free and clear. They inherited the property. Their dad bought it years and years ago, and we have it listed for $800,000. They're going to carry the first trustee. So sometimes some of the mini stores that I bought, the owners carry the note. So once you get into commercial, sometimes you'll get people that'll carry the note, so you don't have to go through the bank.
That's the.
Yeah, that's really huge too. All right.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.